So, you have a lot of dummies in this film.
Yes. Well, some of the main ones. I've got a whole bunch. I've got a lot more than that, but for this movie, I've got a few of them.
That's fantastic. So, tell me first a little bit. When I watched the film, two films came to mind, or should I say, works: Twin Peaks
Oh,
and Clue. It
yeah.
felt like a mashup between these amazing, brilliant works. Um, Tell me a little bit first about ventriloquism. It was exceptional, and you had three characters in the film that were ventriloquists. Tell me about your background in this.
Well, I am a ventriloquist as my primary career. I've done quite a few things through the years, but ventriloquism has been the main profession as a performer for most of my adult life. I'm also a pianist, and I also uh, do well. That's improv acting. I used to do improv acting when I was young. Studied with Chicago City Limits and performed with them.
Mm.
I played piano for their shows too, but sometimes performed for them. And I do other things too, but won't get into everything. But main thing has been ventriloquism and also screenwriting because I've written several feature film screenplays featuring these characters of Trillo and Sway, the detective duo of ventriloquist and wooden partner. But this is the first one that I've actually been able to produce after many years of
Wow,
trying. So my first feature film.
that's amazing. And I absolutely loved it. Uh, excuse me, I was overhearing John Wildman when he was screening this. What is that? That sounds amazing. And then I got a chance to see it because I'm interviewing you. I loved how you had an opportunity to be really campy with this, but it didn't go that way. Everyone played it very straight, which really let the humor and absurdity blossom in this really cool, genuine way. Um, when you were writing the script, is this all scripted word for word? Is there improv involved in it? How did that work out?
Well, it was scripted word for word, but there were a few um, improvised lines here and there. I think they got into the final cut, maybe a couple of lines here and there, but it was basically all carefully scripted, you know.
Mary, your character was deliciously terrifying. And
Woo!
without giving away the end, um, I was very, very suspicious throughout. So I I loved all the twists and turns. Tell me a little bit about developing that character of yours.
The first thing I remember is that Jonathan said, "Oh, you don't have to do the English accent." And I said, "Oh, that's okay. We can do the English accent." And I never actually understood why he wanted the character to be English, but you just follow your leader and go where no man has gone before. And I think for Jonathan, this was filmmaking 101 university, right? Because there were a lot of things that we um, had to overcome, and time, money, all that kind of stuff, sort of typical of independent features. So my character, I remember drawing from Clue a little bit just because of the story was like that. And it was fun because it was an ensemble piece, and that's always a lot of fun to do something with a group of people. So I definitely enjoyed that a great deal.
And the Twin Peaks element was when your character in particular, but everybody's overall, really leaned into the absurd, the exaggerated motions, the exaggerated caressing, and the audience is a little uncomfortable but intrigued. You know, where is this going? But it kept the character alive, and I appreciated the British part of that because there was an air of hospitality that it would be unusual in an American business or household. Making sure everyone had tea, some nibbles, making sure that dinner was served, insisting that everybody eat. Americans, we just tend to be a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
Um, so I really appreciated that bit of custom and hospitality that is just a little more prominent on the other side of the pond. Um, so
There was a scene in there. She's always serving tea, my character. And I remember the director came up to me and I'm pouring the tea, and he says, stir it with your pinky. And I was like, stir it with my pinky. Okay, all right, I'll do that. But it was sort of that was the kind of madcap thing. Like you just see the
yeah,
things go here and there.
it was just so weird because the spoon is right there, but it was those kinds of elements where you're like, who is this person? And it adds that quirkiness and that three-dimensional piece in something that easily could have gone off the rails into, if you played it too absurd, too slapstick, it just wouldn't have landed. And this absolutely did. What was your favorite part about your character?
Well, I always say that comedy is, a bit more difficult. And I think all of us kind of agreed on the fact that you kind of have to play from a reality, even in comedy, because if you're working to be silly, it won't land quite right. You
Right.
always have to kind of be coming from this point of view of, okay, what would I be doing? What would be the circumstances? And I was always being told, this is your place, this is your inn, this is you're the owner here. And I'm like, okay, okay. And we had a lot of really good characters. So I felt surrounded by talent, which was that's always a really nice feeling.
That's a blessing. Yeah.
Ed Altman used to make me laugh. One of the characters in it, the actor named Ed Altman, he he just did these funny things all the time that were totally based reality, but you just sort of went, "Oh, what? That's good." And all the characters, I felt we kind of made this eclectic mix.
Mm. And Jonathan, can you tell me a little bit about the settings from the film? Um, as we started out, there were different places that we ended up, but most of it took place in this inn. Tell me a little bit about how you selected the settings and where we ended up.
Well, I was influenced by Agatha Christie, the cozy mystery kind of genre, and that's where the British thing comes in too. Why I wanted or envisioned the character of the innkeeper, Mrs. Hubbard, to be British because that fits in with that whole atmosphere and that character, as you described very well, Daphne. So that kind of character is kind of iconic in that history of that kind of mystery. And yet, as Sean mentioned, that I told her, well, she's such a great actress that I figured if you prefer not to do British, you're not comfortable, that's okay, do it your way. Because I knew she'd be great anyway. But then when she said, "Oh no, I would, I'm happy to do that." So, oh, that's even better if you could do that. So that setting I thought lent itself to the kind of mystery, well, my re-envisioning of that genre of the cozy mystery, but also more of a film noir feel to it. I wanted to combine that with more of the American film noir detective tradition, and of course the absurdity of a ventriloquist detective. So I wanted this absurdist humor to infuse this melding of atmospheres of genres that I all love, put it all together into this one odd combination.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
was fun.
That's fantastic. Is there anything else you want to make sure that our audience knows about the film?
Where did we shoot it, Jonathan? At an inn in Mapleton, right? Says
Maplewood, New Jersey, Les Saisons, and
Les Saisons.
that's the
Yeah,
actual name
but
of the bed and breakfast is Les
in real
Saisons. We just
life.
used the name because